sabi nyo nga ho, depression is an illness, di ba? And pag sinabi nating illness, may gamot. Pero ito bang depression, meron ba siyang gamot?
Depression and mental health disorders, Yvette, no, there is no cure. But, let me emphasize, but it is treatable and manageable. Again, ihalin tulad ko to sa mga physical na sakit. There are some times when a person, let's say, was diagnosed with cancer, they undergo chemotherapy, radiation, medication, and there are times that they undergo remission and they no longer feel any symptoms and they are able to live a normal life. Pwede yun. But it doesn't guarantee na hindi babalik yun. The same thing, well, let's say for depression and anxiety disorder, you may have the signs and symptoms, but with the proper medication, with the proper psychotherapy, it's possible na mawala yung signs and symptoms na yon, and you can live a normal life. Pwede yon. Let's say we have depression, again, medication, psychotherapy, you can go on with that. The thing is with depression, once you get it once, there's a 50% chance you will get it again. If you get it a second time, there is a 75% chance you will get it again. On the third time, there is a 90% chance that you will get it. So whatever is triggering you, because it's normally a trigger, stay away from those triggers. In my case, I have bipolar. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. My medication, I have to take forever. So yes, may forever in my case. Pero gamot nga lang yun. My mood stabilizer has to be there forever. Now, there are some people who don't like to take their medications, even if yun ang sinabi ng doktor. Bakit? Sinasabi nila, ay, ayoko maggamot kasi I might become dependent on that medication, or I might become addicted to that medication. Now, let me ask you guys, Yvette, Jelly, and the rest of the people who are listening, do you have a parent who has maintenance medication for hypertension, for diabetes? Meron, sabi ni Jelly. Yvette, meron ka ba? Okay,
yes,
meron din.
meron po.
Okay, so audience, do you have parents or grandparents who have maintenance medication? Pakitype yes lang. Yes, yes, okay, yes. Okay, matami sa inyo. So you can probably, meron for the heart, sabi ni Janet. So, let me explain this, okay? Probably yung maintenance medication yan for the heart, hypertension, or diabetes. Tama-tama, yun ang sinabi ni Glidel. So you're under medication for diabetes, probably metformin. You're probably taking statins for your heart or for cholesterol. And do you tell, let's say it happens to be your mom or dad. Do you tell your mom or dad, Mom, Dad, tigil nyo na yung gamot na yan. Dependent na kayo eh. Addicted na kayo sa gamot na yun eh. Do you tell that to them? Do you say that to them? No, you don't. They are not addicted to those medicines. This maintenance medication is a necessity for life. It is the same thing for us with mental health disorders. Now, we have this hashtag in the group, no pill shaming. Because there are some tigilan nyo na yan, or hindi nyo kailangan yung gamot na yan. Diba? No pill shaming. Kung hindi nyo yan sinasabi sa mga kamag-anak nyo, please huwag nyo rin sabihin sa amin na may sakit sa pag-iisip. Kasi hindi kami addicted dito. Necessity para sa amin, para mabuhay. And in order to live a normal life. But in short, again, there is no cure. Science, medicine hasn't come up to a portion where they can actually say, okay, you are cured. Wala pa pong ganon. Pero hopefully in the future, that will happen. And Manong Ari won't have to be in the medication forever. Besides, mahal ng gamot eh.
All right. Thank you so much, Manang Ari, for the wonderful insight, no. Katulad nga ng sabi niyo po, no, wala namang cure for mental health disorders. So this can be quite daunting for everybody watching here. So, what should one do if they feel that they have depression or anxiety?
Uh, okay, you don't have to be a mental health professional in order to help a loved one who has a friend, a loved one, anak. As a matter of fact, okay, linawin natin to, I am not a psychiatrist, I am not a psychologist, I am not a counselor, I am not a mental health professional. What I am is a person who has undergone and is still undergoing a mental health disorder. So the things that I am sharing with you are things that I have personally experienced, things that I have encountered in the support group, people that um, I have talked to. Okay, so whatever I say, remember, pinagdaanan ko to. You guys, it may feel different, but ang importante rito, diba? Seek help from medical professional. This is what we're going to talk about. So the first thing you have to do if you believe you have it is you have to be aware at tanggapin mo that there is something wrong with you na may pinagdadaanan ka. Kasi kung in denial ka, you will not do anything about it. So if you do have it, first thing you should do, the first step to getting better is to seek help from a medical mental health professional. This can be, let's say, in your office. Hopefully, meron kayo. In the HR department, hopefully, psychologist sila. You can see a school counselor for those of you who are in school. Or pag hindi nila kaya, they will recommend you to a perhaps clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist. Ngayon, the only one who can diagnose what you have is a psychiatrist. Okay? Hindi yung 4-year graduate ka ng psychologist, pwede ka na mag-diagnose. Hindi. If you take up psychology, you take up your master's, postgraduate, then you take up your PhD, clinical psychologist, and then pwede ka mag-diagnose. So either that or a psychiatrist, MD, doktor, ayun ang pwede mag-diagnose sa inyo. Seek professional help sa kanila. And if possible, I always recommend seek a second opinion. And trying to find a psychiatrist, it's like trying to find a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Dapat kasundo mo. Somebody you're comfortable with because you have to open up your life sa kanila. Find somebody you're comfortable with. Next one, the doctor may prescribe medications and or psychotherapy or talk therapy. Now, note, it is possible that if you go to the psychiatrist, they won't even have to diagnose you or name what you have. They won't even have to say, alam mo, meron kang depression or meron kang psychosis. Hindi. It may not even be necessary. Medicines may not be even necessary. If they can trace through psychotherapy, if they can trace what you're going through, it may take time. It may take time, but can they do this? They can probably solve your problem, what you're going through, and help you with it. When it comes to a point that you can no longer get out of bed and no longer do anything, that's where the medications come in. That's when it will be necessary. And by the way, ang medications, walang one size fits all. Hindi kagaya ng may headache ka, Biogesic, paracetamol, tuk, inom. Okay, tapos na. Hindi ganoon ang gamot sa mental health. If let's say there is 10 of you with depression, trust me, the 10 of you have different symptoms, the 10 of you are feeling, you have different feelings about it. And the 10 of you have different cocktails of medication. Iba-iba yon. And it takes time to find the right cocktail of medication. Hindi yung depression, ito yon. Hindi. It takes several medications, so be patient. In my case, it took 3 months to find the medication that worked for me. In the meantime, alam mo, inaway ko pa yung psychiatrist ko eh. Kasi sabi ko sa akin, ay, doctor, I've been drinking your medicines for how many months? Pinapagkwartahan mo lang ako. ano ba itong bipolar? Siguro gawa-gawa mo lang to eh. All you're trying to do is make money out of it. I've been taking your medicines but nothing's happened to me. I wanted to stab my doctor in her face, in my mind. Okay? As I was complaining, the psychiatrist I could see was probably writing down, definitely something wrong with Ari. It took 3 months until I finally found a combination of 5 medications that work. As I was saying, okay, through this talk, some of you will finally be able to understand what having a mental disorder is. But the only people who can truly understand are people who have gone through the disorder. You may be able to sympathize with them. It's like you know that they feel bad. But in order to empathize, to feel what they're actually going through, it has to be something that you experience. So if you haven't experienced it, please do not tell somebody who is suffering from a mental disorder, I know how you feel. Honestly, you don't. Yvette, take this as an example. Okay, I was born blind, Yvette, let's say. I was born blind. Since birth, wala akong nakikita. And then I tell you, Yvette, people are talking about the color blue. Can you explain to me the color blue so I get it? Try, Yvette.
Okay, so you're blind and I'm telling you what blue is. Okay, Manong Ari, color blue is like, it's like the feeling of cold water when you touch it. You yeah, parang what do you feel when you touch cold water? Parang refreshing or
Refreshing, ito yata yung sinasabi nila na parang color green eh. Di ba yun yun?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
take
yeah.
note, Yvette. You're groping for words.
Yeah,
Diba?
yeah.
You're groping for words. It's hard to describe what the color blue is to a blind person because he has never seen it. That is the same case. You're trying to understand somebody with a mental disorder. It is truly hard to 100% say, I know what you're going through if you haven't gone through it. But there are some people, recently I had a talk, not recently pala, but the best friend said, sinusupport ako si, let's say si Yvette, sinusupport ako si Yvette, maski hindi ko talaga maintindihan, andun ako para sa kanya. Nakikinig ako sa kanya, I'm there to give her comfort, maski hindi ko talaga siya maintindihan. So it doesn't mean if you don't understand hindi ko maintindihan, sabi ni Manong Ari, hindi ko natutulungan to. Hindi ganon. Like I said, be there for them. The next one is get a lot of rest. Like I said, it takes time to recover from something like this. And you should avoid triggers. Normally, there's something that triggered you. It may not only be one thing. It may be a pile of stresses that has caused this one until one, yung talagang the last straw, as they say, has caused it. And finally, you end up in a disorder, let's say, or depression. Avoid your triggers, avoid your stresses. At times, your stress comes from work. I know a lot of people who have quit their work because nasi-stress sila. I have come across somebody na yung stress niya, yung trigger niya, is yung pag-aaral niya. Bakit? Kasi she was forced by her parents to take a course na hindi niya gusto. Pero ito yung linya ng pamilya nila pero hindi niya gusto. So she ended up in depression. Until one day, they came to visit the house. Actually, they came to talk to me. And she opened up to me. Katabi niya yung nanay niya. Na yung trigger niya is yung pag-aaral niya. Na-shock actually yung nanay niya because she never opened up. So she stopped schooling for a year. Now she's back, taking the course that she wants, and she now feels better. It's possible that your trigger is a family member or is your boyfriend. Kung yung boyfriend nyo or yung girlfriend nyo, ang trigger nyo, leave your boyfriend or your girlfriend because your boyfriend or your girlfriend, they're supposed to bring out the best in you. But if they stress you, mali na yon. If it's a family member, diba, who's doing it, then find the strength to talk to them because very often your family member, okay naman yung intention nila. They want to help you. Pero yung paraan ng, let's say, pagsalita sa inyo, yung mga action nila, hindi nila alam na offensive. So try talking to them. If you have to leave in one way or another, hopefully you have the economic capacity to do it. It's okay to leave family. You have to preserve your sanity. Like I said, the most important person in the world is you. You have to take care of yourself. This is called self-care. Why you? Because if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of other people? I'm sure some of you are supporting your family. You're probably supporting your siblings in order to go to school. You may be supporting your mom and dad, who's not working. So take care of yourself so you can take care of other people. Self-care, you come first. The next one is exercise. We all know this, di ba? Lahat naman tayo alam namin na exercise is good for you, but hindi naman natin ginagawa. To think, the minimum required exercise is only 15 minutes a day for 5 days. Parang brisk walking lang. Hindi yung lakad sa mall, ha? Parang pumapasyal, hindi ganon. It has to be fast enough to elevate your heart rate. 15 minutes, 5 days a week. That's all. This secretes serotonin and dopamine, which is good for you. If you follow Kylie on Instagram, if you're not following her, follow my daughter. Pakisupport na naman siya. If you're following Kylie on Instagram, then you'll know that she works out when she has time, or even while she's shooting. If there's a gym nearby, she works out 2 to 3 hours. She does yoga, Pilates, spinning. She does weight training. She does boxing to keep her, like, of course, fit. But aside from this, this secretes happy hormones and this keeps her going. So for now, Kylie is able to get by without medication. But pag mag-exercise yan, todo naman. So exercise, not only is it good for you mentally, physically, and syempre. Okay, especially now, nasa violent time madalas, find something to do in the house. You can work out even without equipment. You don't have to go to a gym. Okay? And the last one is have a positive attitude. This relates to the beginning, yung perception. Okay? If you have a positive attitude towards life, yung perception nyo sa buhay is that I am not a victim. Life doesn't happen to me. Life happens for me. I am not a victim of the circumstance. When things happen to you, you consider it as a challenge, as a blessing at times, and I can do something with this. If you look at your problems and challenges in a positive light, chances are you will not be stressed. You will not be triggered. Baka masaya ka pa nga eh. Diba? Let's say, okay, hindi ko alam itong CQ, ano? I'm totally lost with it. But for example, let's say MECQ and then mas naging strict, GCQ, can't go out. Okay, I'm stuck in the house. Ano ngayon? I'm stuck in the house. It's now an opportunity to learn new skills, talents. I can now finally catch up. Ang dami ko ng libro na hindi nabasa. I now get to spend time with my family. I get to sit down with them for lunch and dinner, then make kwento, catch up. Kasi dati hiwalay kami eh. That's it. Have a positive attitude towards life. Do not be a victim of circumstance. Choose it and then decide, what can I do with this situation? That's having a positive attitude. Now, I have a whole talk actually about positive attitude, pero medyo matagal yon. That's an hour and a half. And I think medyo baka antukin na kayo, no? So allow me to share lang 2 of the positive attitudes that I share with people. The first one is, wait, nawala yung slide ko yata. The first one is Self-leadership. Self-leadership is taking responsibility and control of your life. Stop blaming the past. Stop blaming, let's say, your environment. You'd say like, alam mo, kasi lumaki akong pobre eh. Kaya wala na akong magawa. Ganito na yon. Ang inyong nakaraan na hindi katumbas ng inyong hinaharap. Let's take, for example, used to be the richest man in the Philippines. It was Senator Villar. Senator Villar grew up in Tondo. He grew up in poverty. He was bullied. The mom was a fish vendor. He had to stop going to school at grade 2. Why? They didn't have money to send him to school. So Senator Villar joined the mom and he sold fish in the fish market. Where is he now? One of the richest people in the Philippines. Stop blaming your past. Ay, kasi hindi ako paborito ng magulang ko eh. Or hindi ako bili ng laruan, kaya ganito ako. Stop blaming your parents. You're probably already in your late 20s. Hanggang ngayon, binibintangan nyo pa rin yung mga magulang nyo. Tama na. You are now in control of your life. You can be what you want to be. Take it where you want to be. Yes, I know bad things happen to you or to everyone. But life is 10% of what happens to you. 90% of how you deal with it. Like I said, some problems may come. For some people, ang laking problema. Exactly the same problem will come to some other problem, to people, and they'll say, this is an opportunity. So like I said, when you perceive something, you don't perceive it as it is. There's a saying that goes, if you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things change. That is not only a play of words, but that is something so true. You may grow up in the same environment, but again, depending on how you treat it, things will change. There were these twins who grew up with a father. The father was an alcoholic, was a womanizer, and was a gambler. And he had twins for sons. As they grew up, one twin grew up to be an alcoholic, a womanizer, and a gambler. Now somebody asked him, what happened to you? Bakit ka ganyan? Yung sagot niya, paano? Yung daddy ko, alcoholic, womanizer, gambler. Eh yung nakikita ko eh. So that's what I became. Now they checked on the other brother. The brother became a successful lawyer. And they asked him, what happened to you as compared to your brother? And he said, when I was growing up, my dad was an alcoholic, a womanizer, and a gambler. And I chose not to be that way. So remember, life is a matter of choice. Life is the sum of the choices that you make in life. And you have to decide that it is your choice. Here's another one, taking control of your life. Facebook now is a bad influence on people. Stop comparing yourself to the people that you see on Facebook or on Instagram. What you see on Instagram and on Facebook is a carefully collated collection of their best instances in life. Or when you look at their timeline, ay, si ganito, may trabaho na. And then let's say, ay, si Jello na-promote. Ay, laki na ng sweldo ni Jello. Ay, may asawa na siya. O, may anak na siya. Ako, wala pa akong nagagawa sa buhay. Don't compare your life to the timeline of other people. Kanya-kanyang timeline yan eh. Like they say, all in God's time. Okay? So don't. Let's go to the next one. I think kumahaba ng oras ko. Ang dami na ng kwento eh. My next slide lang. Oh, find your passion and live your purpose. Hindi tayo nilikha ng Diyos para sengutin or langkapin lang yung hangin na binigay niya or ubusin yung mga kalikasan na binigay niya. We were all created for a purpose. So kung may nagsabi sa inyo, wala kang pakinabang, you're useless, There's nothing you can do here for anybody. Huwag kayong maniwala. If they ask why, you can say, hindi. Diba? That's not true. Sabi ni Manong Ari, I have a purpose in life. And trust me, you do have a purpose. Question is, how do you find your purpose in life? You can start with finding out what are you passionate about. When you're passionate about something, you're willing to do it day in, day out. Even if you encounter problems, itutuloy niyo pa rin. Hahanap kayo ng paraan kasi you're passionate about it. If you wake up in the morning, masama yung loob niyo because you're going to work to do something, whatever the work is, then think about it. Chances are that's not something you're passionate about. You're working somewhere, take a look at the person who's been working in your company for 5 years, for 10 years, for 20 years, and ask yourself, can I see myself doing that same thing in the next 20 years? If you can't, then chances are you're not passionate, and that's not where you're supposed to be. Keep on searching. Don't compromise what your passion is. Don't settle for pwede na to, okay na to. Keep on searching for the thing that you're passionate about. This is like finding your loved one. Diba? Ladies, you take in, diba? Your mga suitors. You don't say, sige, okay, pwede na to. Kale, last trip na ako eh, kaya sige, pwede na to. No. You guys choose the best one and the one that you're passionate about, that loved one. The same thing for your passion. Find what you're passionate about and something else. Your passion, your purpose will always have something to do with service for other people. So any job will always be to serve other people in one way or another. So find what you're passionate about, and it has something to do with being service of other people. That will be, chances are, your purpose in life. If it's not, keep on searching. It may not be a straight line. Ganyan lang eh. But keep on searching. But and along the way, you will make mistakes. It's okay. At my age, I'll be 60 in 2 years. Chances are I have made more mistakes than most of you. I have probably paid for it because I have lost millions also along the way. But don't be afraid to make mistakes. Your mistakes are a way of learning. These are stepping stones to your success. As I say, fail often, fail soon, but fail forward. Learn from it.
Thank you, Manong Ari, for those very wise words that you've left us, and sa mga tips na binigay mo on what we can do if you feel like we have the signs and symptoms of depression. Kahit hindi natin to ma-apply siguro sa ating mga sarili, someday it will come handy, especially for others. Pwede natin itong ma-share din sa kanila. Pero I'm sure, Manong Ari, marami sa ating participants siguro ang hihiya pa na to speak about depression. So can you share to us some groups, support groups that they can go to if ever they feel the need to speak to someone about this?
Okay, having a support system is very important. Now, people think that yung support system mo is dapat your family. Hindi. Your support system should be the person that you're closest to, a person that you're comfortable with, a person that you can open up to. If that happens to be your parents or your siblings, well and good. But the person that you're closest to, you can open up to, can probably be a friend or another relative. Open up to them. This is very important. Or you can join also our support group. If you go to Facebook, please search for Mental Health Support Group by Kylie Verzosa. Currently, we have about 6,000 members, and this is part of my experience. I am in touch with these 6,000 members in one way or another. And about 98% of the people here have one form or another of mental disorder, and we share, diba? We share and we give advice or we vent. Now, you have to apply, you have to register to get in. I noticed there's a lot of psychologists who apply to get in, and you have to answer why do you want to be part of the group, and yung mga sagot ng mga psychologists, because you want to study and understand people with mental health disorders. Ano kami, lab rats that you have to study us? Hindi. Go somewhere else to study people with mental disorders. A support group is not where you do that. So most of the people who are there are people with disorders. About the 2% are probably parents or a loved one parents or others who have a loved one who are undergoing a disorder and they need help. Wala silang mapuntahan. Now, a lot of you probably after this talk, you may realize ito yata yung mga signs and symptoms. Meron yata ako nito. It has been persistent. It's been going on for weeks and months, and this is how I feel. You have to seek professional help. Now, as our gift to you, we are affiliated with Consulta MD. Consulta MD is an affiliate of Globe Philippines, and they are the largest telehealth corporation in the Philippines, and they offer free consultations, not only for mental health, but normally that's what our members go to. So if you need to consult a psychiatrist or psychologist, please get in touch with me. I will give you the codes to avail of a 1-month free consultation, and you can consult with a psychiatrist every single day to try to figure out what you have. If necessary, also they have e-prescriptions, so they can recommend where you can buy the medications. So they will post my Instagram or my email. Get in touch with me. Wala na kayong excuse na I can't afford to see a psychiatrist. Yes, mahal sila. I'm offering this to you. Free consultation for 1 month with Consulta MD.
Ayan, maraming salamat po, Manong Ari. Kung meron pong mga gustong magtanong kung paano i-reach si Manong Ari, we'll just get in touch with you after this webinar, no? Anyway, para po tapusin natin ang ating napakaganda at napaka-educational na session, would you like to share one last parting message for our audience, Manong Ari?
Okay, Vet. Depression is not a weakness or a character flaw. It is not God punishing you for sins you have committed or karma finally catching up with you. It is not being lazy, slow, or looking for attention, or as most people say, nag-aarte ka lang, kulang ka lang sa pansin. Tila bang katha ng amin pag-iisip, itong pinagdadaanan namin at pinili namin na magdusa ng ganito. It is a real disease like cancer, diabetes, or tuberculosis. And it is not something that we just make up and something that's all in our mind. And you cannot will away or pray away depression or anxiety disorders in the same manner that you cannot will away or pray away cancer and other physical diseases. Palitan na natin ang ating pananaw hingil sa pangkaisipan, pangkalusugan. Ito ay totoong karamdaman ng parang katulad man ng anuman pisikal na karamdaman. It is only when we change our perception of mental health that it is a real disease, as real as any physical disease, can we start to tackle the problems of mental health that plague society and the stigma that surrounds it. To all of you, may your lives be free of pain, suffering, and sorrow, and be full of love, empathy, and compassion. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you very much po, Manong Ari. Ayan, I know all of our participants have learned a lot from this session. Ayan, they're all thanking you now. I think you can see on the chat box. At ako rin,
Maraming salamat
personally,
din sa inyo.
Manong Ari, ang dami kong natutunan. I mean, I have loved ones and friends very close to my heart who are undergoing these mental illnesses, and yeah, I promise to help them as much as I can. Marami pong salamat. We are very grateful to have people like you who are very dedicated and passionate to really to help those who have mental illnesses, lalo na ngayon na may stigma pa rin towards this.
I'm just reading some of the things in the chat box, Yvette. Tito Ega, you're most welcome. And please keep in mind that we're here for you and that we love you. All the thank you. We have from Orlan, from Michelle, from Sheila. I'd like to say thank you so much. And I'd like to say thank you for to Property Access and to Sheila. And to the rest of you, Yvette and Jelly, thank you for being my host this evening. For Chloe, thank you for taking care of my slides. These things wouldn't have been possible without you. Thank you so much. I
Thank
am
you, Manong.
grateful.
Thank you. Maraming salamat po. And to everyone else here, you may save the details of Manong Ari if you have further concerns. Aside from that, please have a good night and keep in mind all the things that we have learned tonight. Thank you and have a good night, everyone.
All right.